Hello, and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own Money Whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you?
I am perfect. And I am tuning in today from the Lone Star State. We're out here in Texas. So, hello, everybody from Texas, y'all.
That's
How are you doing,
awesome.
Carlos?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm glad that we're expanding, right? So you're taking the show on the road. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're doing some work on the property out here and just having a good time, enjoying the weather. It's a little bit different than home, and it's just all good. So let's get going. What do you got today?
Well, I actually have a great topic today, and we're going to talk a little bit about how can financial planning take advantage of tax savings and minimize tax liabilities. And I think it's very appropriate because before you know it, it's tax season again, right? We're already at almost mid-November here, and it's just something that I think when I think back, it's like seems like yesterday we were talking about taxes, right? And here we are again. So we got a lot to talk about. So I don't want to take any more of me yapping. let's get your wisdom going on here.
Yeah, and this is timely because it is tax time. This was an unusual year in California. Everybody's personal tax returns had an extension, and then they extended it again. So it's actually tax week. For those who procrastinated, for people that have no idea about that, that's good. That means you did it on time and you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, this is deadline crunch time for a lot of people that didn't plan. Not our clients, but the folks that just got behind the ball. So yes, it is tax time. So when you think about financial planning, there are a lot of things. That's one of the 5 pillars, taxation, right? It's one of the pillars that we really don't want to develop. We want to mitigate because most people don't want to pay more tax. We want to pay less. So financial planning can go a long way toward helping you with timing your deductions, timing your distributions. You can straddle the calendar sometimes and make sure that you're getting it in the right calendar year to minimize taxes. And for someone who's skilled in knowing how to do that is huge. Another thing is all of the business related expenses, making sure that you get those the right time of year for the right returns, depending on if it's a fiscal year or calendar year that you're operating your business under. That's a big important thing to know. And there's so many things that you can do just knowing what the breakpoints are. And they've changed, right? Federal tax breakpoints have changed in recent years. So working with an accountant or a planner that really understands these things is huge. So you want to take your income right up to the underneath the bracket to not trigger a higher tax bracket, which means higher percentage of tax you have to pay on the income. So all of these things are skills that can be done with planning, knowing, which vehicles to use in retirement programs. What should I be invested in? Should it be tax-free, tax deferred? When I take it out, what's going to happen? What are the rules around that? Lots of rules when it comes to pension and retirement plans. So all of these things, when you have a good plan in place or you're working with a good planner that understands these things, can be huge. So I just wanted to bring some awareness to some of the opportunities that you have, some of the benefits of having a real plan and strategically timing things. It's huge. It's a game changer for sure.
So this kind of brings up an additional question to this because you talked about the procrastinators. You talked about those that are always last minute and this guy's falling. What do I do now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned when we're talking to experts on this, what would you recommend? So we know that there's a lot of people who are like, I don't need to pay an expert to do all my taxes and all that. Can you share in your experience, because I know you've seen this, right, with a lot of folks, talk about, I don't want to say like what not to do, but I'm going to say what not to do when you're doing your own taxes. Like you want to just depend on like TurboTax or just sometimes you see these tax places, like even within like grocery stores. Hey, we're doing taxes or whatever. They have like these little booths set up. So talk a little bit about, I guess, like buyer beware. I guess it's a term I can think of for this as well.
This is one of those areas where you don't know what you don't know. And again, I'm coming from the perspective of planning. I see both sides of it. As you mentioned, I see people who planned well and people who, are cleaning up, they're mopping up because they didn't, or families who are mopping up for someone who had opportunities, either weren't aware or just chose not to do, what they could have done to mitigate tax or to optimize some of the tools available. And I don't know, I think my perspective is almost always going to be spend the pennies save the dollars. Get a good account. There's CPAs, there's enrolled agents, there's tax preparers, there's all kinds of spectrum. And if you have enough complexity, and I don't know how to tell you when but I think if you feel like, there's this little voice saying there's more, I need more. You kind of have, it's either like a voice in your head or a gut. It's like, or maybe it's your spouse's voice telling you, get an account. Why are you doing that? I think sometimes you just kind of know, and we resist when we kind of know sometimes. But if you feel like that little voice is saying, we need to know more. There's probably credits we're missing. There's probably deductions we're missing. There's probably opportunities. That little voice is probably right. If you're having that little voice and you recognize it, is probably right. So maybe it's time to take next level. And of course, if anything's changed, births and deaths and marital status changes and job changes and moves, all of that might also trigger the need to have someone look over, at least for 1 year, the new normal for you and get you back on track. And if you, keep an accountant every year, that wouldn't hurt my feelings. It's just got to be within the budget, right?
Right.
And it doesn't have to be expensive to get a good one. You might need to vet a few to get that perfect alignment. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of money, but for most people, they spend the pennies to get the dollars. You might spend several hundred or several thousand, depending on what's going on in your world, for accounting or for good planning. It's probably worth it. And if it's not, you get the plan that 1 year, and then you just execute the plan without the professional help in the future years. So it might be an investment one time, like seed money, right? But I always lean on the side of, if you feel like there's some complexity or something you're missing, get some help for sure.
Awesome. So I'm gonna switch it over now too, because obviously a CPA would be definitely a part of your arsenal, part of your resources as well too. So I want to ask you, so what are like some financial planning tools or resources that you'd recommend for like tracking spending? Maybe even the very bad B word, you know what I mean? Like, what are some things that can help us?
And by the B word, you mean budget, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like to call it a spending plan. I'm with you on that one. And for most people, when it comes to strategic planning, it starts with allocating the income, because we're all taught to allocate the outcome. You pay your bills on time, you got your housing and your cars and your insurance and all the things you pay, but we're not always taught or trained. Maybe it's not modeled for you, where you came from. But what do we do with the income? How do we allocate the income? Some people don't think about that. It just comes in and you spend it. But what if you did that with intention, with purpose? And so there are all kinds of apps, all kinds of tools that can help you with that. There's, if you just Google on your phone or on your computer, whatever device you're on right now, if you just look up, apps for spending plan, we probably apps for budgeting. They're going to probably have the B word there. There's the YNAB, Good Budget, Every Dollar, Pocket Guard, Honeydew. People love what Honeydew does. It's like, honey, the bill's due, right? It comes from that. That has become really a marketing exercise. So anybody who's got a business, online business, Honeydew does a really great job. Good people running that company. But that's one of all the budgets that's really good about coordinating. So if you're working with a partner, you're working with your spouse, you get to both have the app and you coordinate all that. Like, I went and got groceries. Well, I went and got gas. And it kind of helps you. It shows you how much you have left in your spending plan for that month. It's kind of cool. So you might want to check that one out too. But there's a lot. You can Google and there's going to be another 50 that I haven't mentioned. And it might be a place to start. If you say, sure, Judy, I would love to do it. I want to fund my retirement. I want to fund the kids' college. We want a second home one day. We have all these goals. But every time the month ends, we're a little short. It's a little tight. Like, we do crash diet the last 3 days of every month, because we can't go get groceries yet. So what is that about, right? If it's that kind of cycle where you're spinning, we've been here before. We've been here before. Even with the raises we got, we've been here before. It's not just inflation. We've been here before. What can you do more, better, or different to get some control around your spending plan? And maybe you need just a plan. Maybe you need some discipline, some accountability. An app might do that for you. Maybe you need somebody outside the family to check in with you and say, did you do what you promised to do? If you're married, we all made all those promises. Remember? Some of us
We
did it
did.
outdoors, some of us did it in the cathedral, some of us did it, in front of the justice of the peace. We made a lot
Right.
of promises to each other. Are you keeping them? Right? And maybe we didn't say, I promise to, balance the checkbook and never, spend more than we earn in a month. But we made promises to have accountability, to do life together and not be in this place where we're spinning and spinning and spinning. And if you made those promises and you want to be accountable to them and get back on track, some of these tools can help you. First of all, it's a mindset. Once you get your mindset that you can do that, you deserve to do that, your partner, your spouse deserves that, your family deserves that, then you can decide, what do I need to do to get from here to there? And you put the dots on the map and you chart the course and you implement. It's so simple, right? Not easy.
Right.
We have all this stuff in the way. We get in our own way, but it's very simple. And stick around. We've got all kinds of courses and classes and videos and shows like this to help people get those little, that little missing piece that might just be that puzzle piece they need to get to the next level and unlock, what's in the way. And so I'm happy to be here to present this information to help people chart their course.
And so you already actually moved on to the question I wanted to ask you. You've touched already with what you've said, but tell us just a little bit more on walking us through like a typical financial planning process, or what's involved in each step.
Yeah, well, if you look up, I'm a CFP, certified financial planner. That's one of the, kind of little bailiwicks I've got in my pocket. But that's a planning process. You always want to have a process if you want to get something done and complete it fully and on time, right? So there is a formal financial planning process. It's very similar to what any planner will do, whether you're training for a race or you're trying to complete a degree or a credential, or if you're trying to get your financial plan, make sure you achieve your goals on time. You're going to start with that, right? What is the plan? What are the goals that I have? You're going to be looking at where am I now, right? That's putting that first dot on the map, current destination. If you're going to do a map, where are you? You got to start there. The next thing is charting the course, connecting the dots. Where do I need to go to get where I want to go? Now that I have the goals, start with the goals. And you develop that plan. Do I need to pay less tax? Do I need to save more for retirement? Do I need to put more aside in savings to achieve goals that I have along the way? Educational goals or travel goals or new car goals, whatever it is. And then you implement the strategy. So now that you have this great written plan, do it. If you're supposed
Just
to
do it. Yep.
Yeah, Nike, right? If it's $500 a month you need to put into this account for that goal, do it. And if you decide, well, I kind of want to do this, my friends are doing this weekend away and it's going to be a $500 weekend. And if I do that, I can't meet my monthly goal for that future goal that I have. You're choosing, right? So are you committed to the goal? Are you changing your plan? What are you doing? And that's the thing. A lot of us are like, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do, squirrel, right? And we do that and we forget about the plan. Well, if it's really in your heart to achieve your most important goals, and it is that whatever that 500 month just contribution is toward that goal, if that really is more important, you'll say, I'll go with my friends next time. Because this month, I need to put the $500 toward that thing that we're committed to achieving. And then you just implement. So it's some discipline around that, right? You can't be chasing squirrels. It's discipline. And then there's always course corrections. So, this is that once in a lifetime trip. We're actually going to go see the band that we wanted to see 30 years ago. They're finally in town. That for me right now is more important than the $500 a month. I'll defer my goal 1 month because this is once in a lifetime thing. I'll do that. Now you just changed the plan, and that's okay. It's a moving, breathing thing. But now you got to change the date of when you're going to achieve that goal by a month. If you're okay with that, that's a perfect decision. Your goals are going to change. Your map is going to alter. Same thing if you're on a road trip, right? If I'm going to drive from Dallas area back to Southern California, I know what road to get on and I pretty much stay on it and go west, right? If I decide that I want to go north and, cruise through Boulder, Colorado and go see a friend, I might still get to Southern California, but it's going to take longer probably cost a little more, maybe another hotel or two, some more gas. I'll still get there, but I've altered my course. I've changed my course. And that always requires a course correction, which is okay. You just want to make sure that you're documenting that. And now you have a new course. Otherwise, you're doing this. I'm there. Now I'm there. Now I'm there, which is how most of us go through life. Right. So
Yeah, that's true.
those are the elements for a plan. I'll go through them again. Establish your goals, analyze where you are now, chart the course, present the plan, implement the plan, and then change course when you need to. That's all you got to do. Simple, not always easy.
Yeah, but it's a matter of also holding yourself accountable to make sure that if this is the goals, and it's also very helpful when you have great team players on your tribe that are pushing you and making sure that you stay on top of things as well too, just like in anything else in life, right?
Yeah, yesterday I had a call. This is a Newport Beach, Newport Coast gal, grew up, silver spoon pretty much. And she's in graduate school right now. And we met about a month ago. And she says, I've gone through some inheritance money. My parents have been helping me. I'm capable of making money. She's in graduate school, so she can make money doing her trade now. Not a lot, but some. She also is very talented piano player and singer. And so she's one of these, if you go to the Biltmore or the Marriott or these nice hotels and there's someone singing and playing, in the fancy restaurant, that's her. Very talented, makes good money, good tips doing that. And she has, an agent. I mean, she's just doing really well, but no money, negative, no money. And she can't keep herself out of debt. Well, she's just starting, right? She's not even 30 yet, just starting life. She says, I think I need help. I grew up with whatever I wanted. It was provided. My parents did very well. And she said, I don't want to always be that daughter, that person. And so she asked me to help her do that. So just yesterday we're doing weekly accountability calls. So she has a certain amount of money for food, a certain amount of money for health related things, certain amount of money for, her cars and clothing and all that stuff. And so every week she asked me, will you allow me every week to do a call and let you know how it's going? Because I can make a goal, but I don't hold myself to it. And I'm thinking, how did you get almost through graduate school? You know how to do goals. You got to get this grade. You got to turn in that paper. You got to have that meeting. You got to do these things. Check, check, check. Now you just need to make your own list. So put yourself through your own college of finance, right? So build your own curriculum. I'll help you have accountability. I'll give you the grades, whatever you need, because you understand academia. And I do too. I have a background with all of that. So let's just build you a college course. You've mastered education, and this is going to be education in the financial arena. What do you want to learn next? And so we're building a curriculum for her and the accountability around every week. How did you do with spending? And she's killing it. She's crushing it because there's accountability and she's gamified it, which I think helps a lot of people. If you make it a game, all you got to do is win the game. So it's not about a budget anymore. Just win the game. So anyway, that's just kind of a fresh one. That was yesterday's call. And it's like, wow, it just is so valuable for people to have it's kind of like when you go bowling with kids and you put up the bumpers and the bowling ball, you might not get a strike, but it's not going to go in the next lane. Right. And so I can just help people blow up the bumpers and just stay in the lane. And I love doing that for people. It's an honor.
So since we're at the tail end of the show and we're talking about accountability, you know what that means, right? It's time for our Money Truth Challenge.
Absolutely. So we talked about the 6 areas or the 6 checkpoints of financial planning. So your challenge this week is pick one of those and really work on it. And you'll know, in your heart, that little voice, right? You'll know which one you need to work on. So here they are again. Establish goals. If your goals aren't clear, that's your challenge. Get clear goals. When am I going to achieve it? How much will I need for it? And exactly how will I feel when I achieve that goal? Taking a really good, honest look at where you are, that benchmark. Maybe your challenge needs to be, I need to look at where I am because I really have no idea. That might be the one. Developing a plan. Maybe you need to get with a planner, get one of those online apps on your phone, to watch your contributions and your spending. Whichever area is the gap, do that. develop other options. Maybe your challenge is to talk to HR or talk to your payroll department or talk to your insurance agent or your estate planning attorney. Has your will been updated lately? Do you even have one? Do you need a trust? What are those things? So I think whatever is lacking, whatever you feel that we may have touched on today, where you go, yeah, I've been meaning to do that. Every year, it's like this time of year, it's like we still haven't done it. That's going to be your challenge. Find the gap and fill it. Somewhere in the area of planning, you could do more, better, different. Find it, identify it, and do something about it. That's your challenge.
All right, folks, you've heard the challenge. And if you're just joining us, please watch the beginning of the show. Great content, as always. And make sure if you're not following Judy, please do so at judykopenbarger.today for the most relevant content up to date. So make sure you tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Replays on Thursdays at 8 p.m. And with that said, Judy, any last parting words?
No, kiss a cow, y'all. Coming in from Texas. Make it a great week.
All right, you guys, take care and be safe out there.